Remember on the feather to see your object before you respond to it. The object itself does not have to be on the floor, it can be slightly above. Instantly upon touching the object, my body reflects its light weight. I gently place it in my hand. Slow, gentle movements accent the softness of the feather. The body shows the feather dropping slowly through space. The rock, in contrast, will show the hardness of the object upon seeing it. The tucks and the resistant movement of the body reflects the hard nature of the rock.
Every time I have talked to an audience and asked them what the art form of mime was, one of the first answers that I've always gotten is illusion. Yes, that's part of it. In fact, that's our seventh part of it. We're going to study now the techniques of illusion, how to create that invisible wall, walking in place, running, ropes, walls, robots. Each of these things are techniques that are using counterpoint. Well, you'll see that. The important part of this is learning how to control the body now and use it with that perfect control and that object identification. Come with us in the book from pages 27 through page 31.
The front walk we commonly call the simple walk. What he's doing now is showing you the balance of it. So he's going slightly on the diagonal, but slightly forward. So you're going forward and to the diagonal on the toe, and then you come back to neutral when you put your weight on your heel. Now this is a variation where you speed it up, and it ends up being a character walk. This is good to use when you really don't have to show an illusion of walking, but just that time is passing. The side walk is often called the profile walk. And we're breaking it down here just to show you what each leg individually will be doing. The foot goes straight out. The leg comes absolutely straight back in as the other leg bends. So you've got one leg bent and one leg straight. You can't have it kind of in between with both legs sort of bent, because then you'll look like you're sneaking. Now the rhythm is very smooth, just as you were walking, and the foot doesn't slide and make noise on the floor. It just skims above the floor. And his hands are moving in opposition, so it's opposite of the feet, and his chest is moving in and out to show a little bit of a weight transfer. The pressure walk, or marche sur place, starts with the weight forward. So it's the équilibre statique avant, with the ball of the foot in front, just slightly in front of your other toes, and then your knee is bent. Again, you have one leg bent, one leg straight. Now what he's doing is, as the heel is pushed to the ground, the other leg will go straight out behind you in a flexed position. This movement happens from the hip, so you can't make it happen from the knee by bending that back leg. You want to let the leg go completely straight before you recoil and bring the foot forward to make another step. Notice the transfer of weight here. Looks like he's really going somewhere because the weight goes forward on the toe and again back to the heel. You don't want to raise up and down at all on this walk. The walk goes forward and central. If you successfully put your weight on that front foot as it's bent, then your back leg is free to move. So you don't have to raise up on your toe in order to lift your other foot.
Pressure run can colorate from a pressure walk. Notice as it goes faster, it is as if I am jumping onto the foot. This is a comic run, used both in the variation of a hop or with one leg going forward and back. You can decolorate it back into a walk, slowing it down, working more and more through the foot. In the establishment of a rod, the thing to remember is to keep the distance between your hands exactly the same. Don't allow them to become too close to each other in the movement. And then you will do what is called a fixed point, whereas if you move away from the object will stay there. An isolated point in space. Remember that the rod has a weight. So as it drops, your body will reflect the weight of the object. Moving the rod will usually occur with a series of tucks and a tuck to place it back down. Once again, we are going to go and explore the variations of a rope, keeping the hands the same distance and showing the body part moving at the same distance that the hands move. An important factor is the head's counterpoint or counterweight to the movement of the hands. The hands pull, therefore the head shows the counterweight. The heavier the object, the greater the counterweight.
For the balloon, notice the succession of isolated movements that happen here. As the balloon raises up, you see just his hand, his elbow, his shoulder, his chest, his head, and then he comes back down in the reverse order. And it's as though he's suspended like a Raggedy Ann doll. If you picked her up by her hands, everything else would kind of hang downward. As the balloon pulls his arm upward, it's a different rhythm than when he gets control of the balloon. See, now the balloon's controlling him, and then he controls the balloon. Just try having the balloon pull you from different areas of your body so that it's not always the same hand. Bye.
The construction of the wall happens first with the focus of the eyes. We must see the object before we can construct the object. This is done by placing the finger in front of you, removing the finger, and looking at the empty space. If you can bring the finger back in and it still be in focus, you have succeeded in the exercise. Now focus on the wall, then touch the wall. Once I have touched the wall, I don't have to focus in on it as much. Remember that in order for an object to be identified by the audience, you must be either looking at the object or touching it. The corners of the wall can be seen by the bending of my fingers. The difficulty of this is to have the fingers on the same plane. You can also approach the walls in many different manners, from side to side, from top to bottom, however you might want to. Remember, however, that what is most important is that the audience feels the nature of the wall and not just see it.
Now I'm showing you the window of comfort. Try this with me. Have your hands outstretched in front of you and try to move your hands up and see how far up they go and the wall still looks flat. Then all the way down you'll find it's uncomfortable for your wrists. So find that area in which you can actually move comfortably. As in any object manipulation, it's very important that you use the counterpoint, which is to go away from the object and then toward it. When the hand is relaxed, there is no force being on the hand, but then as soon as you make contact with the wall, there's a tuck into place and the hand is flat. There we see the wall and then we don't. So each time you move your hand, you've got to go away from it and then contact it. Then release it and take it again. Also, if you take both hands off the wall, your wall disappears. So you've got to have one hand on at least at all times. Now that you've seen the technical breakdown of the wall, let's see how it looks in a performance situation.
And now there's nothing left to do but practice.